Today's episode, I am fired up for because the topic is how to build a calendar. And the reason I'm fired up to talk about this podcast today is because I've been on both sides of the coin. I remember early on in business when I didn't have a solid calendar, how chaotic it was and how it made me feel. And then I remember the moment where I was told by my mentor, he said, look, if you want to know my secret to success, you need to use a calendar.
Didn't even get to cross.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Momentum Monday. My name is Steve Holbrook, and I hope that you are having a great day, or I hope you had a great day wherever you are in the world, listening to this podcast or watching on YouTube or watching on our blog at sholbrook.com. Again, I hope you have a great day, and I hope this podcast can add some value to that. Today's episode, I am fired up for because the topic is how to build a calendar. And the reason I'm fired up to talk about this podcast today is because I've been on both sides of the coin. I remember early on in business when I didn't have a solid calendar, how chaotic it was and how it made me feel. And then I remember the moment where I was told by my mentor, he said, look, if you want to know my secret to success, you need to use a calendar. Everything needs to go in your calendar, and you need to do everything in that calendar. Thank God I figured out early on that my calendar was going to be my blueprint. It was my opportunity to eliminate my emotions and just focus on my habits. I'm going to say that again. It was my opportunity to eliminate operating from an emotional state and start operating from a habitual state. Becoming the person that I wanted to be was going to take some work, and it was going to be by design. And if it was going to be by design, I needed an effective calendar system that was going to reflect that. But the question always is, how do I build that calendar? So I'm going to talk about it today for the next 12 to 15 minutes. So pull over, take some notes, or when you get home, re-listen to this, because I'm telling you right now, if you're listening to me for the next 15 minutes, the game is going to change. The game is going to change. First point, why hinge your life on a calendar? Why should you hinge your life on the calendar? Let me tell you why I do. You ready? Because my calendar never lies to me. My calendar never lies to me. It never lets me down. It always tells the truth. My calendar always tells me the truth. It brings certainty into my life. There's times in my life where I feel my life is spiraling out of control. Maybe it's in health or a relationship or something that's happening. I feel like I'm reeling. I feel like I'm spiraling. But if I have my calendar's on point, it brings certainty to me in sometimes an uncertain world. But it's also a direct reflection of my behaviors and my habits. It's a direct reflection of my behaviors and my habits, and it's one of the few things that I can control. There's a lot of things in your life that you can't control. There's a lot of things that are going to come at you that you did not foresee. Your calendar brings some of that control back, and it keeps me organized, and it keeps me on task. It's the only way for me to execute a strategy. If you're trying to get to the next promotion, or you're trying to get to the next income level, or you're trying to get to something specific, you're going to need a strategy. You're going to need a specific strategy to get to the next level. Your calendar is going to guide you through that strategy. If you're not running an effective calendar system, it's probably taking you way too long to get to your next promotion. It's taking you way too long to get full-time or get that asset or get to that net worth. That's why your life should hinge on a calendar. My second point is one of the most commonly asked questions that I get asked around the calendar. This is my second point, and it's reflected around a question. How do I keep my calendar from getting filled by the first person who asks rather than my real priorities? I'm going to say that again. How do I keep my calendar from getting filled by the first person that asks for my time rather than my real priorities? This is a great question. When you're evaluating if someone or something should go on your calendar, like if somebody approaches me and they say, hey, can I book some time with you? I need some time with you. I want to go for coffee with you. There's a few questions that I ask myself before I give this person my time. And I'm going to give you what those things are. These are the things that are running through my head before I'm going to commit to booking time with this person. The first thing I'm going to ask myself is this: is dealing with this situation or spending time with this situation, is this in line with my purpose? Is booking an hour or two or a half hour or 20 minutes or 15 minutes to discuss this topic, whether it's a movie, the latest movie, whether it's friendship time, whether it's in my business, is this in line with my purpose? Is spending time with this person in line with my purpose? The second thing I'm going to ask myself is, does this actually require my time? Does this require my time? Is this something that I should be dealing with? Am I even the best person to deal with this? Or is there somebody else that I can also lift up as another leader who can handle this prior to me getting involved? For example, let's say somebody sits down with me or sits down with you and say, hey, I'm having a couple of challenges in an area. Or before they sit down with you, they say, look, I'm having a couple of challenges in this area. I'd like time with you. Quite often what I'll say is, hey, have you talked to Sarah? Sarah recently got through the same situation. She just got through the same battle. See, the reason I'll do that is because I'm looking to lift people up at times. So I'm seeing if I can match up the situation, match up the conversation. I don't do it because I'm trying to avoid dealing with it. I do it because there's times where I ask myself this question. I say, look, am I the best person to give this person advice? Can I actually relate to this situation? Can I actually relate to the problem? And if I think there's somebody else on my team that can handle the situation in terms of relatability prior to me getting involved, I'll encourage a match-up situation where they deal with that problem first. I hope that makes sense. And I hope you don't think I'm just trying to pass off a problem. But if there's somebody else who can add value to this situation, I'm going to encourage them to talk to that person first prior to me getting involved. The next question I ask myself is, how much time do I actually need to allocate towards this? See, there's no such thing as time management. There's time allocation. See, a lot of times you can get something done in 20 and 30-minute meeting. If you book an hour meeting, what's going to happen is the first half hour of that meeting, you're going to get the story that they're going to tell you about this situation. I'm looking for the facts. I don't need all the emotions. I don't need their version, because everybody's going to put their little bow on the situation. My feelings are hurt because this person doesn't like me. Well, that's the story that you're telling yourself. What are the facts? What's actually going on? What's actually going on in your business? What's actually going on in your family situation? Yes, it's important for me to get some of the backstory, but get to the point, get to the facts. There's a lot of meetings you could do in 20, 30 minutes that you're allocating way too much time for. You got to set the intention, right? The fourth question I ask myself, is this something I should book right now, or should I book it at a later date? Let me give an example. Sometimes someone will come to me and say, look, I'd like to pick your brain about something. I'd like to book a meeting regarding something. And let's say it's a Wednesday for me. Quite often what I'll say is, you know what? Find me after Saturday training and let's book something for next week. The reason I'll defer booking the meeting to a later date is because I want to give them 3 or 4 days to think about the situation, even before I commit to booking the meeting. You know what happens? 50% of the time, they don't ever actually need me to do the meeting with them, because over those 3 or 4 days that I deferred setting up the meeting, they've already figured out the problem. So I've cut down on at least 50% of meetings that people think. See, when shit hits the fan, they're automatically going to call you. They want a meeting with you. They want to get fixed. They think you're the solution, especially if you're the leader. Everybody's going to want your time. Everybody thinks that you're the ultimate problem solver, that you're going to wave your magic wand and everything's going to be okay. But you know what I like to do? I like to get them to work through it for a couple of days, unless it's urgent. If it's urgent, let's deal with it. But more often than not, it's not urgent. So if they can think through it and they can come up with a couple ideas, and then we can book a meeting 3 or 4 days from now for a week out, it's given them a lot of time to think about it. They're coming to the table with solutions, and their emotions are low, which means their intelligence is high. So quite often what I'll do is I'll defer even booking the meeting. It's one of the things I've done for a long time, and it's freed me up so much space in my calendar. So that was a lot of things under the second point. You might have to rewind this podcast to listen to it and take notes, but I'm telling you right now, if you wrap your head around that, it'll change the game. My third point is also a question that I get asked a lot. What does Steve Holbrook's calendar look like? Well, let me tell you my calendar looks like. I use an electronic calendar. I like an electronic calendar for a lot of reasons. One is I can book reoccurring meetings. I'm already booking into March and April of next year. So when I open up my calendar, I can see all my trips that are already booked, all my meetings that are already blocked off between now and 12 months from now. But also all my assistants have access to my calendar. It's on all my electronic devices. I can color code it. Now I also use a paper, like a paper day timer, but I don't keep my appointments in there. The paper day timer is for my tasks. It's my to-do list. It's for my pre-planning. I write my power list in there every day before I go to sleep. Every morning I wake up, I review that list, and I'm getting things done. I'm checking things off. So I carry my paper day timer around. It's kind of where I keep all my to-do notes all in one spot, but then I have an electronic calendar that guides me. And I can see that calendar out a year from now at least. I mean, technically it's out 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But so that's what my calendar looks like. Now, if you were to get into my calendar, you'd see that everything is blocked off. Okay, my family time is blocked off. My fitness time is blocked off. My business time is blocked off. I have 5 or 6 things in my calendar every week that I would refer to as non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. On Sunday mornings, it's non-negotiable. That's my family time. Unless I'm out of town, I'm with my family on Sunday mornings. And I have my business time throughout the week. I have 4 or 5 trainings that I have to be at in my business. Why do I have non-negotiables? I want you to listen to me when I say this. This is important. My non-negotiable times create guaranteed results in my life. My non-negotiable times will create guaranteed results in my life. Let me give you an example. My time with my family Sunday morning will guarantee good things for my family. Time together, fellowship, laughing, playing games, going to church, being present. That will only do good things for my family, because by creating a non-negotiable time on Sunday morning with my family, by spending time with my kids, by building a relationship with my family, by being present on Sunday morning, that is going to guarantee positive things are going to come from that. There's a guarantee that nothing bad is going to come from that. So if nothing bad is going to come from spending time with my family and being present and having it as a priority, then that just means that good things are going to come from it. Same as my business. If I show up to every training and I bring a guest and I'm working when I should be working and I'm doing the things that I should be doing, it's going to guarantee a certain level of success in the business, which is important to me. There's 5 or 6 things in my calendar that I've decided that if I do and I don't compromise, it's going to bring me results. And I need that, especially as an entrepreneur. What else is in my calendar? Everything I need to run my life. Time I wake up, time I eat, time I spend time with my kids, everything goes in there. Because like my good mentor told me, you put everything in your calendar and you do everything that's in that calendar. My 4th point. What do I do when I'm continuously running over in my block calendar time? When my meetings run long, when things get out of whack, what do I do? This is another common question that I get asked. There's a few things that might be happening. The first thing is, if you're new to the calendar game, you might need a bigger buffer in between appointments. You might need to put a proper buffer in between appointments. If you're always running late on meetings, you're always showing up late, you're always having to move things around, that means that you probably need a bigger buffer. That's one reason. The other reason is you just might need to cut your meeting shorter. You might need to set the intention at the beginning of the meeting of how long this meeting's going to be. Guys, this is 2019. We're in the microwave society. People want things faster than ever. The average adult attention span is no longer than on average, isn't longer than 45 minutes. So if you can't get something done in 30 to 45 minutes, you've already lost their attention. It's crazy. Remember when Instagram came out with 1-minute videos? Everyone's like, man, who can get anything done in a 1-minute video? And now 1 minute seems long. People don't even watch the 1-minute videos. Now it's 15-second stories. It's crazy. So if your meetings are going, hour and a half or 2 hours, or you keep going long on every meeting, you're just saying too much stuff. You're talking more than you're listening. Get in the meeting, build the rapport, set the intention, pay attention to the time. When there's 5 minutes left, you say, look, we have about 5 minutes left here. As we wrap up, right? Wrap up the meeting. Man, if you're going over time, then it's just one of those things that you're not respecting what you put in there. So try to visualize your day the night before. Try to walk yourself through the calendar the night before, right? You go to bed, you look at your calendar, you're visualizing each appointment, you're imagining yourself cutting the meeting at the very end, 1 minute before you need to, so that you're not overlapping on the next meeting, right? You're imagining your drive time. You're just visualizing it. You got your buffer time in there, right? And if you focus on it and it's a priority, you're not going to run over. Once in a while, you're going to run over. And that happens. I get guilty of that. Sometimes I don't put the Zoom code in my calendar, so when I'm doing an online webinar for somebody, I'm scrambling for the online code and I'm 2 or 3 minutes late. It's something that I'm working on. It's a 14-year work in progress. But I'm better today than I was yesterday. I'm better at my calendar than I've ever been. And that's all that matters. And my 5th point, this is important, and I believe this. How you treat your calendar is a reflection of how you treat yourself. How you treat your calendar is a reflection of how you treat yourself, because it's all about the standard that you set. My mentor, Ed Milet, said it's all about the standard that you set. Your behaviors and your habits come from the standard that you've set in your life. And the higher the standard, the better the habits and the better the behaviors need to be. Your calendar is what's going to guide that. And if you stay on it and you run an effective system, it's going to help you with less anxiety. It's going to help you stay in a better mindset and all around health, which is going to help you believe in yourself more. It's going to help with the belief that you can do it and you can win. And it's going to get rid of that fear, and it's going to ultimately increase your confidence. And back to what Tony Robbins always said. How do you increase self-worth? How do you increase self-confidence? By keeping the promises that you make to yourself. It's a cycle. You set your goals, you set your intention. Your calendar should reflect the behaviors and habits that you need to hit that standard that you set in your life. And by accomplishing those, you gain confidence. And by gaining confidence, you gain more self-worth and more self-belief. And next time you set a goal, you believe that you can do it. Guys, once you get into the success cycle, once you understand that success cycles, right? And the faster you can spin that flywheel, right? The tighter you can get in that cycle, the faster you can move. But so many people feel stuck because they're disjointed and they're unorganized, and they lack vision, they lack clarity. They don't know what they should be doing. They don't have a strategy. They're not running an effective calendar system. So I hope you guys got some value out of that. I hope you ask yourself, look, is there anything on this podcast that I could get better at? And is there anybody on my team that needs to hear this? Is there anybody in my life that needs to hear this? Let's get after it. I appreciate you guys. All I ask is, if you're watching this on YouTube, share it. If you're listening to this on podcast, share it. Put it on your stories. Put it on your Instagram. And if you wouldn't mind, please just go and give me a rating and a review. That stuff goes a long way on iTunes. Our ratings are increasing every single week. Our reviews are unbelievable. And we appreciate that, because that's the only recognition that we get, is you guys share it and it reaches more people and ultimately helps more people. I probably got 200 or 300 messages through text, phone call, DMs after my last podcast of how one of those 6 points changed somebody's life. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And have a great day.